Hello everyone, welcome to TspApp. I am Tejas and we are going to study class 8 geography chapter number 1, that is natural resources and their use. So before starting, I would request you all to pull out your SST books in front of you because we are going to highlight some important points and write the definitions of important terms. Okay, so let's start the video. The first section that comes in front of us is when does nature becomes a resource. So you will find this section, this is the section number 1 of your book. Okay, so let's start with the first important keyword. It is the nature. You all know nature, you have seen the nature. But if I will ask you the question, what is actually the nature? What is its definition? So the definition says, nature is the totality of life and non-life form, including all things not created by humans. Let's understand the definition. You can see in the picture, this is a nature. We all know this is a part of nature. Okay, you can see there are trees here, plants here. These are all life forms. What are non-life forms here? You can see that here we have water, here we have sky, these are the mountains, the land. These are all non-life forms. So the totality of all these, totality means total of all these, are called nature. And important point, they are not created by humans. Okay, the examples are very simple. You can write them by yourself. Okay, air, water, trees, mountains, mineral, they are all nature. Let's move on. So this is the first section of your book. You can match. The definition is given here right in front of you. Nature is the totality of life and non-life forms that are part of our environment but have not been created by the humans. So the definition is the same. You all can highlight it. Let's move on. So if we are talking about nature, the chapter is about the resource. We must know what is resource. Before we start the chapter, I hope you all have studied the chapter of your class 7th book, Resources Geography. So the definition says, anything from the environment that humans use to meet their needs are called a resource. Anything that we use from our environment to satisfy our need, that is a resource. For example, you have trees, we use the tree wood for furniture, we have water for drinking and farming purposes, we use the sunlight for solar energy. Quite simple. Like you can see in the image, we are using the nature and natural resources. Okay, we are using the land, the trees. These are all resources, examples of resources. Now we have the actual question of this section. When does nature becomes a resource? We all know nature, we all know resource. How can this nature become a resource for us? So when humans use elements of the nature for sustenance, consumption and creating useful things. What is sustenance? Sustenance means like we are living our lives, so we are sustaining it, to living our lives. What is consumption? Consumption means to consume. We all eat things. These things are called food, fruits, vegetables. We all eat them. These are a part of our consumption. What is a part of sustenance? Those things that are helping us to live our lives. Okay, it is helping us to sustain ourselves. These are all important for our sustenance. Then we have the creating useful things. Okay, so we use natural resources for creating new things. You can see in the picture, the person is cutting the tree and the wood will be used for making furniture. So in that way, we can say that humans are using natural things for sustenance, for consumption and for creating useful things. If these three things are satisfied, we call it a natural resource, a resource that is coming from the nature. Okay, so examples are tree become a resource when you cut and use them for furniture. As simple as that. Let's move on. Okay, so this is the image that is given in your book. We have the first image. It is the micro-hydel plant in Himachal Pradesh. You know that Himachal Pradesh is a Himalayan state. There is Himalayan mountains there. Okay, rivers are there, valleys are there. Rivers flow from up the hills to the down lower parts of the valley. Okay, so what this picture shows is a microhydel plant. It is a plant that is used for generating electricity from flowing water. Okay, so this is how we are using the nature. It is helping us in sustenance. Okay, we are creating new thing, electricity, and here we are not using it for consumption, but we are consuming the electricity in our applications, in our electrical devices. It is consuming electricity. So in that way you can relate the previous part with this image. Now we have this another image. If you all know, this is a very sophisticated structure. It is the special machines that are used to extract the crude oil from below the ocean beds. Okay, so this is the ocean. All the water is the part of ocean, and these are the machines that are above the ocean. They will drill to the deep of ocean, to the depth of ocean, to the ocean bed, and they will suck out all the crude oil. Okay, now let's see the next slide. The next part is a situation that I will give to you. Okay, so this is like the game that we play, their situation. Suppose you are the owner of a very large mining company, a company that extracts the crude oil. So you can see the black part here. This is a crude oil, the raw form in which we extract the petrol, diesel. Okay, what you do is that you drill up on the ocean bed to pull out the crude oil. You suck out the crude oil using machines. Now what happens? You have got the news that there are very large amount of crude oil present at the deepest point on the earth. Deepest point on the earth. But think carefully. Do you have the technology to go that deep in the ocean? To the deepest part of the ocean, can you drill that deep? It won't be possible for machines currently. Okay, currently. And will you be able to afford the cost? You can see the two words here, technology and cost. What is cost? Will you be able to put that much amount of money in pulling out that crude oil from ocean bed? No. So there are some points that are important when we are talking about resources. Let's see another situation. You can see the image. Suppose this is a sacred tree, and here we have the sacred grove. What is sacred grove? Sacred grove means any garden that is sacred. Sacred means it can be used for religious purposes. It is important. We worship them. Okay? You can see the image. We are worshipping the tree. This tree is important for us. So, can we cut this tree to use it for furniture? Think, can we cut this tree? No, we cannot cut this tree. It is a part of our religion, our culture. It is sacred to us. So let's understand the three things that are important for anything to be called a resource. It can be technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable. You all must highlight these three words in your book. Check. Let's understand it in a little detail. So you have a resource. Anything that can be called a resource must have three things. Number one, it should be technologically accessible. Technologically accessible means we must have the machines, the technology to collect that resource, to use it. Okay, if we do not have any machine or technology to use that resource, can we call it a resource? No, it won't be any resource for us. Okay, the second part is economical feasible. What is economical feasible? Economical feasible means we must, if we are extracting the resources, it must be economically feasible. It should not be very high amount that we can get after extracting. Okay, are you willing to extract 5 crore rupees in collecting a crude oil, and after selling it you only get 500 rupees? No. In that ways, it should be economically feasible, not too high, too extreme. Okay, so that is the meaning of economical feasibility. Lastly, we have the third point, that is cultural acceptable. What is cultural acceptable? anything that is a resource should be culturally acceptable too. Culture must allow us for us to use that resource. Like we saw in the previous example of the sacred tree, will our culture allow to cut that sacred tree? No, never. In that case, it is culturally not acceptable to cut that tree and use it for furniture. So we come to this point, anything to be called a resource, any object from the nature, we will call it resource only if it is technologically accessible, culturally feasible, and culturally acceptable. Okay, so I hope you have understood this part. It comes in your exam. It can be asked like, give the 3 factors that are important for anything to be called a resource. In that way, you have to explain, write these names: culturally acceptable, economically feasible, and we have technologically accessible. So 3 names should be provided, and you must give the appropriate definitions of each. Okay, explain each. There is a word given in a book. I've written it here. You can see, note, exploitation. I hope you all have heard the word exploitation. Exploitation is often used in the negative connotation in a negative way. The humans are exploiting. Okay, but in geography, in this chapter specifically, exploitation here means to use a resource. If humans are using a resource from the nature, we are exploiting it. Okay, it is not here a negative term, it is a common term, common word for using. So let's move on to the next part. The next part is the examples. So it is quite simple. You all know the examples of resources. We have water, air, soil, then we have the coal, petroleum, precious stone, metal ore, timber. There is a word here, timber. If any one of you do not know the meaning of timber, they must write it right there on the book. What is timber? Timber means the wood that we collect for making furniture. It is a timber. We have metal ore. What is metal ore? If you have studied the science book, the science chapter, metals are something that are found in the environment. No, metal is not found directly in the environment. It is found in the form of metal ores. Ores are the natural form, natural raw form. What companies do is that they extract the ore, the metal, from the metal ore. Okay, so metal is a purified form, whereas metal ore is something that is raw and found directly in the nature. You cannot find iron directly. It will be found in the iron ore, manganese ore, aluminium ore. All these are the ores of different metals. Then we have the precious stones. I hope you all know what are precious stones. Precious stones are like the gems, the important, the shiny stones that we use in our day-to-day life for making jewelries. These are our precious stones. So everything that we use from the nature is called a resource, natural resource, natural. Okay, so let's see here. Nature is considered sacred. What is nature? Why is nature considered sacred? I hope you all know. We all worship the tulsi, okay, tulsi plant, the basil plant. Tulsi plant is considered very important in our Ayurveda. It is good. It can act as a very good medicine. Okay, so we come to this point that nature is very important for us. We worship it, and finally, the conclusion, the moral of the story is nature is the nurturer and the nourisher. There are 2 words, nurturer and nourisher. Here are the meanings. You can write them. Nurturer, who is a nurturer? Nurturer means someone or something who cares for you, who protects you. Like they creates a boundary of protection for you. They are helping you to grow. Okay, they are helping you to nurture. So example here is nature. Nature provides us shade, shelter, safety. All these 3 things nature provides, so that's why it is called a nurturer for humans. We also have nourisher. Nourisher means what? Have you heard the word nourishment? So nourishment means same thing. Here it is in form of verb nourisher. Someone or something who feeds or supports your growth. For example, nature gives you food, you eat that food, it is helping you in nourishment. So nourisher means nature is giving you food to eat. I hope you have understood these two words, the moral of our whole story, that nature is the nurturer and the nourisher. ठीक? Let's move on to the next slide. We have the final definition of natural resource. You all must remember this definition. All the material and the substances that occur in the nature and are valuable to humans, these are all natural resources. They have some utility, we use them in our day-to-day life. Okay, so let's see the next part. Now this is the second section of your book. You will find the section, it is the categories of natural resources. Categories of natural resources means we are in this part trying to classify it into different types of natural resources. Let's start. So first we should understand why do we categorize the things. What is categorization? Categorization means creating different groups. We are creating different types. So we have 10 types, we have 5 types, you have 3 types. These are all categories. Okay. So let's see in science what do we do. In science we group things by using common feature called the criteria. You can see the word criteria here, criteria. So you all know that in science we classify material on the basis of the criteria, metals, non-metals. Okay. We give these groups names. That is quite simple. Each type will have its own name, each group will have its own name. Like in science, there are the magnesium, copper, iron, these are given the common name of metal. Okay, and we have the carbon, these carbon and silicon, these are all non-metal. So let's see why do we do this. There are some advantages that we get. Here are the advantages, the 3 types of advantage. Number 1, we can talk about ideas clearly. Suppose your friend is sitting in America, you are in India, you are calling your friend and saying that, hello Amit, I am working with metals. You have used the word metal. You are not saying that I am working with some material which are shiny, which are sonorous, which are ductile. We are not talking like that. We are directly saying the name. I am talking about metal. Okay, so the metal word is the group name. We can categorize the whole the metals. Okay, then it helps us in saving the time in explanation. You are not explaining the whole sentence what are metal. You are just using the word metals. It also helps us in improving communication with others. Simple, you can communicate easily. So these are the 3 important advantages that we get after categorizing anything. You can remember it, it can come in your exam, okay, because it is given in your book. Now, this is our main part, categories of natural resources. So as you can see, there are different categories. First focus on the pink part, here, here and here. We are going to hide this part. Just hide it in your mind right now. Natural resources. We have natural resources. Natural resources can be classified on the basis of their uses. What is the basis of the uses? Suppose you are the class monitor. Your class teacher asks you to bring all the boys of your class. In that case, what did we do? We classified the whole class on the basis of the gender. Okay? We are classifying on the basis of gender. In this case, we are classifying the natural resources on the basis of their use. It can be essential. Here we have the essential for our life, something that we live on. It helps in our sustenance. Then we have sources for material. What are material? Material are those things that we use to make new things. For example, we have the iron, all the raw materials for making buildings. Then we have the sources for energy. Natural resources can also be the sources of energy. Very simple. Now, if you have understood this, we are moving on to another type that is based on the renewability. We are going to study each one of them in very detail, so don't worry. Just try to create an overall mind map in your mind. Okay, based on renewability. Here we talked about how the resources are being used. We can classify into different categories. Here we are talking about on the basis of renewability. Like in your class, if I will ask you, bring all the students of your class who have weight above 50 kgs and below 50 kgs. There are two categories. So bring all the students who are above the 50 category, 50 kgs. Okay. Similarly, I will, when it comes to natural resources, we can classify on the basis of renewability. What is renewability? Renew, new itself, make itself new, renew itself. Okay, any resources that is able to renew itself is called renewable. Here we have renewable, and any resources that cannot renew itself will be non-renewable. Simple. Let's understand each one of them. Okay, so let's move on. Here we have the first type of resource. Which one? We are talking about the previous one. Here, focus here. Essential for our life. We are talking about this resource. So let's see them. Resources essential for our life. What are these? Example, the air you breathe. You can see in the image the air you breathe, the water you drink. Okay, here we have the water that we drink, the soil, plants for food. All these are resources that are essential for our survival. Without them, we cannot survive at all. So that's why they are resources which are very essential for our survival, essential for our life. Okay, so we cannot create these resources ourselves, but we can take them from the nature. Okay, let's move on to the next part. It is now we have the resources for material. Which type of resource are we talking about? We are talking about the second type of resource, that was on the basis of use, source of material. We have talked about this, essential for our survival. Now we are talking about sources of material. Let's understand what are the resources that are a part of sources of material. So resources for material are wood, marble, metals like coal, gold, tools, jewelry. Okay, so you can see in the video here, you have seen the Taj Mahal, the white marble masterpiece. It is made up of which material? It is made up from the white marble. Okay, here you have the marble. Okay. Another example, you can see the red colored structure. Any red color structure like these were created using a material called red stone. It came from Rajasthan areas. Okay, so the red stone, it was like a sedimentary rock. Okay, so these are all the materials that we use in our day-to-day life. Okay, for making new buildings, tools, jewelry, any object from the environment that we use. Okay, India has a very rich variety of such material. That is quite simple. India had very rich types of variety of metal, minerals. That was the reason why Britishers come to India. They came to India. Why? Because of trade. Why trade? Because we had so much high variety of such materials. Okay, they traded from India. Then we have the resources for energy. The third type, remember the third type, it is the resources which are important for generating energy. What is energy here? Energy means it can be electricity, it can be fuel for our transport for fuel. We use like petrol, diesel. Then it can be used in our industries and homes. We all use the electricity. We charge our phones. So we have the sources: coal, petrol, gas, wind, sunlight, water. How can wind be used as a source of energy? You can see in the video how we are using wind to generate electricity. Okay, so let's move on to the next type of classification. We have done the three types based on our use. Okay, now we are going to based on renewability. So let's see them. Let's see types of natural resources based on renewability. We have the renewable and non-renewable. There is a reason why we use green color for renewable and some other color like red for non-renewable resources. So let's see. This is the section of your book. Before starting renewable, we must understand a very important concept of nature. The concept, or I would say the process of nature, is restoration. Suppose my hand get a cut, the skin get cut here. What will happen after 1 month? The skin will heal itself on its own. Okay, the skin will again close up all the cut. Okay, so this is the cycle that goes on in the nature, breaking and again creating, breaking, creating. Okay, so this is a cycle where nature tries to recover from damages. So let's see what is given in your book. Restoration is the process of returning something, something to its original healthy state if it has been degraded or damaged. If anything has been degraded or damaged, it will again return to its original newer state. Okay, so let's see, understand it in a little detail. Okay, you have seen such fires like this, quite famous these days. These are happening at a very high rate after the global warming effect. So what are these? These are called forest fire. We all know forest is made up of plants, trees, and plants and trees are a source of wood. And we all know that wood burns very quickly. Similarly, suppose there is a fire in a small part of the forest. What will happen is that that fire will expand to other parts of the forest and eventually burn the forest. Okay, so it is very dangerous. And what will happen to the plants and animals there? Plants will die, it will get burned, trees will get burned, and about the birds, animals, they will flee away to another part. They will run away to another part of the forest, or eventually, if they will not get any home to live, then they will come in the human areas. Okay, so let's see the cycle, the natural cycle of restoration and regeneration, where forest regrows after fire. So first we have the wildfire. Wildfire means fire in the wild. Wild, we all know the forest, wild forest. Then we have the ash and soil. So what will happen after the burning? All the ash. Ash is what? Raak. Raak, we all know raak. Kala jo hota hai. Okay, so ash, raak. Ash will get mixed with the soil. Ash will be mixed with the topsoil. Topsoil will get fertile. What will happen next? There will be new plants growing. And after this, we have the animals returning to their original place on the original forest. New plants created, animals return, and forest get restored. Okay, simple. Next, again, there is wildfire, ash and soil, new plants, animals return, forest restored. Quite simple. Okay, so this is the natural cycle where we are going from this stage to again this stage. Okay, let's move on to see another example of how nature is trying to restore itself. It is the tree decomposition cycle, where tree falls. So let's see the video first. You have the video here. This is what? This is a forest. Suppose a tree, the tree here falls down, it falls down. Okay, what will happen next? It will decompose. What is decomposition? Decomposition means sarna, galna. Okay, when the material from tree is breaking down into simple materials, simple substances, it is known as the decomposition process. What will happen next after decomposition? The soil part will get enriched from the decomposed material. Okay, soil will get enriched. Again, what will happen? The seeds from different sources, it can be from the same tree that fell down. Okay, it will again start growing. It will get nourishment from the decomposed material here. The topsoil is getting renewed, it is getting recharged, it is getting again all the nutrients again. Then the seeds are growing, new plants are growing, and we again have the new trees. Then the tree will fall after its age is over, and then decomposition. So the cycle goes on forever in the nature. This is the cycle of natural restoration and regeneration. Okay, now we have the third example. It is human aided reforestation. What is reforestation? Where humans are helping to again expand the forest. After we deforest, we have the first stage, deforestation. We cut the trees, we use the trees for making wood, furniture, for making the matchsticks, paper. All these things are we using for making different products from the trees, which plant the trees. Okay. Excuse me. Now we have the tree planting. Tree planting, you can see in the image. After deforesting the plants, the forest, we are again planting the new trees. What will happen next? Trees will grow. Okay, it will grow to a suitable height. Then the birds will return, the animals will return to the forest. Life will again prosper, thrive. Okay. Lastly, what will happen is that the ecosystem will get balanced again. What is balancing of ecosystem? You know ecosystem, where there is different food chains created, the interrelationship between living and non-living forms. Okay, these are all the part of ecosystem. So ecosystem will get balanced again, and again we will deforest, plant new tree, animals return, birds return, life thrives, again there is ecosystem balanced, then we deforest. So this is a cycle where we are humans are aiding the reforestation process. Okay, very simple. Now we have the actual part. What are renewable resources? Resources that restore or regenerate over time through natural cycle are called renewable resources. Any resource that can recharge itself. And what is recharge? Restore, regenerate, what is this? Suppose your mobile gets discharged. What will happen? You will plug in the charger. The mobile will again charge to 100%. You can again use the resources, the mobile. Then it again gets discharged. You will again put your charger. It will get charged. So mobile is type of a renewable. There is a cycle being created which is restoring or regenerating. Similarly, in nature, we have some resources which can regenerate itself, restore itself if it is given appropriate time to be done. Okay, what will happen if you will not put the charger in your mobile? After 5 years, 10 years, the mobile will get permanently damaged. You cannot do anything after that. You cannot recharge it. So similarly happens to renewable resources. If you are giving appropriate times to the renewable resources for its cycles to get completed, what will happen? We will again have the resources. But if you are not giving us the renewable resources the time, we are not giving them the time to get renewed, we will be in a situation where there is no renewable resources. Okay. So here you can see both the examples. Number one, it can last forever if it can be used carefully. If you are using them carefully, it will be forever. And what will happen if you are using for like very large number of time without giving it enough time to get renewed? If overused, they can get depleted. Okay, depleted, कम हो गए, खत्म होने लग गए. Okay, so this is how our renewable resources are an important source of our day-to-day lives. You all know what are the renewable resources: the solar energy, wind, flowing water, forest, and soil. Solar energy, sun will always come in the daytime. At night time we will not have sun. Then again next day we will have daytime. The solar energy is renewing itself. Okay, wind is not like it has blown today, it will not blow then for the next 30 years. No, it will blow again. Okay, then we have the flowing water. Water will keep flowing. We are generating hydropower energy. Okay, we saw the example earlier of Himachal Pradesh. That is the example of flowing water, the river that we are using for as a resource for generating electricity. Then we have the forest. You can see the example here. Forest can be a renewable resource if suppose we followed the previous cycle. If you remember this cycle, this example, okay, this was the example of how humans are aiding reforestation. We are using the forest, we are again giving it time to get renewed. In this way we are helping as well as giving it time to get itself renewed. So forest is a renewable resource. Remember always, Forest is a renewable resource. Okay. Next we have the soil. Soil also renew itself. The topsoil, it will again get all the nutrients through different cycles of nature. So this is how we classify our resources on the basis of renewability into the first part, that is renewable resources. Now we have the Arag. Arag, how many of you have participated or your family participates or celebrates the Chhat Puja? You all know that what is Arag, giving giving the water to the sun. So here we have the word Aragyam. Aragyam, same word. What is Aragyam? Offering the sun. The sun is, we all know the sun is the ultimate source of our energy on the earth. It is the sole source of energy that is helping our living. It is providing plants the food. It is helping in photosynthesis, so plants can make food. Then we can consume the food made by the autotrophs, the plants. So that's why sun is very important for earth. If there is no sun, life will not be present on the earth. So that's why we, from our older times, from our old traditions of Hindu culture and Indian culture, we used to pour water like this in front of the sun, showing our gratitude that thank you sun for giving us life energy. Okay, we are offering some water to you. It is a mark of our respect and our gratitude towards you. So this is a example of how we as Indians are so much careful about nature. We are so much dedicated towards nature that from our old culture, from our old times, we are trying to respect the culture, respect the natural resources that are renewable. Okay, so let's see the next part, the non-renewable resources. Okay, now this is that type of resources which will take million of years to form. What is million of years? So much time period that your multiple generation of human will die, after which the resources will get renewed. So it is nearly impossible for us to let this type of resources renew themselves. Okay, so that's why we call it non-renewable. It cannot be renewed if it gets exhausted for some time. Okay, here the definition says resources take million of years to form and cannot be replaced quickly. These are all non-renewable resources. Here we have the example of coal, petroleum, iron, copper, gold. Okay, these are all non-renewable. It is present only in a specific quantity on the earth, after which if you will use all the resources, all this quantity, what will happen? There is no resource, no non-renewable resource. So that's why what is the important point while using non-renewable resource? Once used, they are gone. So that's why we use them in a judicious way. We must use them in a judicious way, in a way that is carefully, that is taken after multiple multiple thinking, multiple steps are taken for it to get itself to use them. Okay, so we are using in a judicious way. We are not over exploiting them. We are giving appropriate suitable time. Okay, we are giving important time for renewable resources. So let's see the examples, what is happening here right now. Humans' impact on renewable resources. The problems. What are the problems? We all know that humans are deforesting, we are cutting the trees, we are not giving it time to get renewed. The industrial pollution is there. We have the fossil fuel that is creating more and more pollution, and eventually you all have made the poster of global warming. Okay, so globe, the earth is getting warm by gases. Okay, we have the greenhouse gases. What are the effects? There is the disruption to what? The natural regeneration cycle. This cycle of nature which is restoring itself is not able to do that. In that way, it is a negative impact on our environment, on our earth. Okay, rivers are becoming polluted and lifeless. Why lifeless? Because no fishes are there. Fishes are dying because of the chemicals, high amount of chemicals and dirty materials that are being flowed in the river, okay, sewage water, all these things which are allowed to be flowed in the river water without it being treated in water treatment plants. These are all the ways by which we are creating an havoc. Water security in plains are threatened. Why water security in plains are threatened? We have some time when the river flows at a very high level, it causes flood. Sometimes when water level is very low, okay, the groundwater in the plains are getting exhausted. We are not giving it time to get renewed. There is no rain due to high amount of deforestation. So all these things are the human impact of how, due to which how the renewable resources are not able to restore itself. Let's see the next slide. The next slide talks about the same thing. It is from your book. If we harvest timber, timber is what? The wood, trees faster than the forest, we can grow trees. If we harvest timber faster than the forest can grow trees, we will eventually deplete the forest. We are cutting the trees, we are not allowing the cycle to get completed. What will happen? The cycle will break, the cycle of regeneration, restoration will break, and finally we have the forest that is depleted. It will get exhausted. Okay, so in that way, what are the main factors that are leading to this disruption? We have the fossil fuel driven industrialization. Industries are created, there's pollution, they are using fossil fuels. Then we have the cutting down of forest. Very simple, these are the two things that are leading to the disruption of the natural cycles. Now we have some important thing that is given in our book. It is the rising temperature. Remember the water security of the plain, we talked about that in the previous slide. Here they are talking about how the rising temperature is leading to disruption in the plains, from the Himalayas to the plains. So let's see, temperatures are rising, global warming, same effect. What is happening? The Himalayas are melting. The ice of Himalayas, you all know the ice is there in the Himalayas, it is melting at a rate faster than precipitation can replace them. Precipitation means water comes in form of rain, snow. The land, the Himalayas again get the source from where the water will again flow out through the valleys. If that source is not coming, will anything flow? It will eventually lead to complete disruption of the cycle. And what is happening? Population living in the plains depend on the water tower. We all know we depend on the water from the Himalayas. We use the water from Ganga, Yamuna river. And from where do these rivers come? Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra, all these rivers come from the Himalayan, Indus river, Himalayan mountains. So what will happen if this happens, this case happens? The water security of the plains will be in great risk. Okay, so let's see, what is a water tower? There is a word used, water tower. We must remember what is water tower. Suppose you have a pani ki tanki, water tank, in form of a tower, very large tower. Okay, in that way, a water tower refers to the region that stores and supplies water to other areas, like a giant water tank. It is that region from where water will flow to different regions that are adjacent to this water tower region. It is the source of water for different regions. We have the Himalayas. Himalayas are source of water for which all regions? In the Indian subcontinent. Okay. So why are Himalayas called water tower? Because Himalayas store snow and glacier. We all know there are snow, there are glaciers on the Himalayan mountains. These all melt, they form the source of water. Okay. In summer, these melt slowly, feeding rivers like Ganga, Yamuna and Brahmaputra. Simple. The melting of these things, snow and glacier, leads to the source from which Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra river will get water from. These rivers flow down to the plains and supply water to millions of people. Very simple. Let's move on. Let's move on. Now we have this section. This section is from your book. We have some industries. We need industries to produce goods. We all know industries produce goods for us. If you are watching this video on your mobile phone, who created the mobile phone? It is these industries. So industries are important for making goods. Now what are they doing? They are discharging the waste in the river. You can see in the image how waste from industries are flowing into the river without even proper treatment. Treatment means we are not filtering out very harmful things. So suppose this is a filter, we are not filtering harmful things, we are allowing everything to flow into the water. And what will eventually happen? The river water will get so much polluted that all the animals of aquatic life, the fishes will die. Okay, so what happens? The waste cannot decay. Decay means what? Decomposition, decay, sarna. So waste cannot decompose, they cannot decay. It disturbs the natural cycle. The cycle that we talked about, it gets disturbed. Rivers become poisonous. Okay, river will eventually become the source of poison. Poison in the sense that it is not fit for our drinking. Excuse me. Now we have the ecosystem. Ecosystem are two types. Okay, now remember, there are two terms given in a book. Number one is, let's focus, number one is ecosystem function and ecosystem services. Ecosystem, we all know, the whole system of nature where non-living things, living things, they interact together to create some cycles, interrelationships, food chains. All these are ecosystem. Okay, so there are some ecosystem functions as well as ecosystem services. What are ecosystem functions? We have some natural resources. Ecosystem, what are the functions? For example, tree produce oxygen. It is the function of tree to produce oxygen. Simple. So what are ecosystem function? It is the natural processes of the nature. What are ecosystem services? Suppose the tree is producing oxygen. Who will consume the oxygen? We humans, the animals. We are getting the service from the nature. So this is then example of how ecosystem functions, like trees producing oxygen, forest filtering water, forest preventing soil erosion, forest providing habitat for animals, lead to forest services. Benefits that humans get from the ecosystem functions. For example, we drink the clean water. How do we drink the clean water? You all know that trees, the roots of trees helps in protecting from soil erosion. It also helps in filtering out water that is going into the soil, into the groundwater. So it is helping in providing us humans the clean water. So that's why nature is giving us service. You all know what is service. Okay, teacher is giving teaching service, lawyer is giving some other service, doctor is giving some other service. So these are service. Similarly, nature is giving humans some service. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Now we have the important fact. Important fact, why? Because we all are humans and we must know what actually is the amount of oxygen that we take every day. And a human takes average of about 350 liters of oxygen every day. So you can imagine how much is 350 liters of oxygen. Okay, now how much a mature, I'm using the word one tree, a mature tree produce? It is only 275 liters. So suppose we have so many amount of tree, but remember that a single human is taking more oxygen than a single mature tree. What is mature tree? A grown up tree, a very large grown up tree is producing that much, is not able to produce that much amount of oxygen. Okay, so we are taking in more oxygen than the tree is producing. So what is required? We are required to give the time to nature. We are required to do afforestation, human-aided reforestation. We are required to plant new trees so that the cycle of all this oxygen being created, carbon dioxide being generated, then again being consumed by the photosynthesis process, this cycle gets itself renewed, regenerated. Okay, so that's why we must respect the nature. Now we come to the third part. Third part is distribution of natural resources and their implication. So now we have understood what is nature, what is a resource, how can nature become a resource for us. Then we talked about the classification of material. Okay, then we talked about the different types of renewable and non-renewable resources. Now we are talking about distribution of resources and their implication. What is distribution of resources? Let's understand. Distribution. What is distribution? If you have made the distribution graph in maths, the tally bar, you know what is distribution. Distribution means how something is distributed into different parts. Okay, we have this image. It is a graph. Which graph? It shows the distribution of important minerals. Okay, it is from your book. There are some minerals here: coal, oil, we have iron ore and bauxite. How are coals distributed in India? If I will ask you this question, what will you answer? You will answer that coal is distributed like this. It is present near the eastern coast of India only. Okay, near the eastern coast. Whereas if you will go to this part of Rajasthan, you won't find any coal. So this is the distribution of coal. कैसे वो बटा पड़ा है, कैसे it is mixed in the nature. Okay, so we have coal, then we have the iron ore. You can see iron ore. Where is it? Here we have some iron ore. Here are iron ores. Okay, then we have some we have these are some oil. These are this oil. Then we have the iron ore here in this part. So whole of the central part of India consists of iron ore. Then we have some bauxite. Where is bauxite? Bauxite are the orange dots. Here we have bauxite. So these are all bauxite distribution. Okay, and if I will ask you a question, I will give you 1 minute time. Not 1 minute. You can pause the video for that. Tell me which type of iron ore is which type of mineral is distributed in the northeast of India. You can see the answer lies here. The yellow triangles. What are yellow triangles? These are the oil. Okay, so oil is distributed in the northeast of India here. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. Impact of industries near natural sources. So I hope each one of you know that industries are set up near the sources of natural sources. Suppose this is the mine from which natural resources are being taken out. Industries will often set up near the natural sources. It will help them to decrease the time in transportation, the cost in transportation. The resources will just be mined from here and be transported to the nearest industry. Okay, so that is the reason why industries are set up near the natural resources. What are the benefits that people get, that we as a human get when industries are set up near the natural resources? Jobs are created. Okay, new jobs are created. People will work in the industry. Township and new communities grow. You know that where there is an industry, people will settle near the industry. Okay, eventually the whole economy will develop near the industry. It will lead to a township. New communities grow. Roads are created. You can see in the image, roads are created for the transport for the vehicles to go from one place to another near the factory, near the industry. It also boosts our economy. Economic opportunities are created. Okay, new forms of earning your livelihoods are created. Okay, so these are the positive impacts of industries near natural sources. Now let's see the challenges, the negatives. People are displaced from their homes. Who want to live near the industry? Not everyone. Okay, only those people who work in the industry would be willing to live near the industry, because industry create many types of pollution. For example, we know air pollution, water pollution if there is a water source. Then we have the sound pollution. We all know sound pollution, too much heavy sounds of machines being the sounds that are created when machines are manufacturing something in the industry. It is very very disturbing for us. So people are displaced from their homes. People have to leave that place to live somewhere else. Sacred places and culture may be lost in that region. Okay, it will get polluted, like we saw the example of if you know that Taj Mahal is getting yellow, the marbles are getting yellow of Taj Mahal. Why? Because of the pollution. Then the short and long term costs are very high to the environment and the society. They will have to bear the cost. What is cost? The problems, the challenges that they will have to bear after the industry is set up. Now we come to the part where we are talking about trade, skill and conflict. We have talked about distribution, how our resources, minerals are being distributed. Now we are focusing on trade, skill and conflict. We all know that what is the relationship between trade and geography? Trade depends on where resources are found. Simple. Where will trade happen? Trade will happen where it will occur where there is some natural resources, where you have something to sell to other people, there will be trade. Okay, with skill and knowledge we create unique products. Okay, humans use their knowledge. We use our knowledge, our books, our research material to create new things, to invent new things. Similarly, here in geography we have that humans use skill and knowledge to create new unique products. So if you know that what are human resources, you can understand it. Example, we have woods as steel. Okay, then we have this third point that shows that it has helped build large empires in Indian history. Okay, so trade is very important. Where does trade happen? When there is a in those areas where there is a natural source, there is a source of material that can be traded. Okay, and trade cannot happen without any skill, because you require human skill, you require knowledge to convert that natural raw product into something usable. Okay, and finally we come to the third part, that is conflict. Why conflict? Suppose if any region on the earth has high amount of resources, it will be the source, it will be the light from which all the insects will get attracted. Similarly, talking about, this is a metaphorical example. Suppose we have heard of India. India was the Sone ki chidiya, okay, the golden bird. It was the reason why the Europeans came to India, because of the high amount of raw material, the high trading capacities. Okay, so all these things were the causes which eventually led to the conflict. Let's see this example. We have the river. Which river? We are talking about the Brahmaputra river. Okay, so it flows from here. You can see here is the starting point. Then the river Brahmaputra flows through the China country, enters into India from the Arunachal Pradesh, flows through the northeastern states, and eventually entering Bangladesh, and finally flowing with Ganga into the Bay of Bengal. So what is the main matter here? The main matter is that the river water is being separated or used by China, India and Bangladesh. Here we have India, Bangladesh, China. So these three countries are using the same natural resource. This shows that people in resource rich areas often face conflict. There will be conflict, maramari. Okay, who will use more amount of water from the river? Nature ignores political borders, it leads to disputes. What are political borders? The borders that you can see here, the black borders, you all know that when your teacher asks to bring the political map of India, there are borders of each state and the Indian border, the main Indian border is there. So borders, political borders are ignored. Nature does not see if this is China, this is India. It will create its own path of flowing. The river will create its own path. It is not going to see if I am flowing through India, it is if I am flowing to China. So it will lead to disputes. Why disputes? If China creates a dam here, suppose China creates a dam right here in before the Brahmaputra river enters Arunachal Pradesh, what will happen? There will be less water flowing in the Brahmaputra river. What is the result of less water? Those people who are living in the area of northeastern region, they will not get enough water. There will be survival issues. The crop will start failing because there is not enough water. So this will lead to conflict. Okay, so this is how natural resources can often lead to conflict. We have another example. This example is from your book. There is a famous river Kaveri. It is also written with the spelling C-A-U. Here I have used K-A. It can also be written like C-A-U, V-E-R-Y. Okay. So Kaveri river dispute, what is it? So you can see the river Kaveri. This blue river is Kaveri. It is flowing from this part, okay, this part in the west to the whole of the South India towards the towards the Bay of Bengal and the Indian Ocean, okay, towards the east. You can definitely see that here we have Karnataka, here we have Tamil Nadu, and here we have Kerala. There are the three states. Other than this, we also have the Puducherry. Puducherry is right here around this area. Okay, so in this area Puducherry is there. So what will happen? What will happen? It will lead to a great issue. An issue is actually present here. These four regions, or I would call the states and the union territories, are in conflict with each other. They want to get the maximum share of this river water. Okay, so this is the reason why there is a conflict. The Kaveri river dispute. Issue, shared river water. Here are the issues. They want to, the river water needs to be shared, but the water is limited. Okay, there is no water, there is no river that is unlimited amount of water. Okay, there is some limit. Each state can use only a specific percentage of water. Okay, so that's why we need some negotiation. We should not have conflict, we should negotiate about what should be the fair amount that each state must be allotted. Okay, so this is how natural resources are distributed, and it often leads to some problems that we call as conflict. Conflict is what? Ladai. Okay, now we have the natural resource curse. So this is the next section. You can see in the video. What is the natural resource curse? I hope this has led to a new doubt in your mind. What is the natural resource curse? If there is a natural resource in the region, how can it be a curse? What is a curse? Curse means something that is bad for an area, for a people. Curse. It is also called the paradox of plenty, where some region or country are rich in natural resources. They have very high amount of natural resources, but they still remain poor. They are underdeveloped. You know about Africa. There are some countries in Africa which is so much high amount of natural resources. They have the gold, iron ore, aluminium, all this magnesium, all these types of iron ore, all these types of metal ores are there. But still, why are they underdeveloped? Why are not they developed like the Western countries? So this is the same problem of the natural resource curse. So why? Because they fail to develop industries. Industries are very important. It is often the source of pollution, but still they are very important for development. They do not, why? Because do not cover raw resources into they do not convert raw resources into valuable products. They have the natural resources, but they do not convert it into the high valued product. They do not convert the raw material into high value product. So that is the reason. Suppose I am selling a raw material, I will sell it at a rate of 5 rupees. But if I sell a highly valued product at a rate of 500, I will earn that 500 rupees. So I will become more rich. So that is what the Western countries do. They take the natural resources, they convert it, they purify it, they increase the value of those resources and they sell it, so they earn more money. Okay, so what happens next? What is the reason? Rely too much on raw export. So what they do, these countries, these region, they directly extract the resource. They do not convert to high value resource, high value product. They just export it to someone else. Okay, they will earn only that amount of money. So that is the reason why we have the natural resource curse. Now let's see the next part. Next part is why resources alone are not enough. So we all know that resources are not enough for our country or our region to get developed. Natural resources don't guarantee wealth. Simple. True development needs these 4 things. These are the 4 things mentioned here. These are the 4 important factors that are important that lead to development. Number 1 is human knowledge. What is the use of natural resource if you cannot utilize the human knowledge to convert it into a valuable resource? You need good governance. What is good governance? You need government that is supportive, that is not corrupt. Okay, that is helping, that is a welfare, that is working for the welfare of the people. You need industries that will add to the value. We all know industries will add to the value because it will take the raw material, it will process it into a very high value product and then it will sell. So industries will add the value to the product. And then we have the strategic planning for sustainability. You need a sustainable form of resource usage. You all know sustainable. Sustainable means using something to satisfy our current need without disrupting the future generations' needs. If you have a plate full of pasta, you will eat only that amount of pasta that is suitable for you, that is sufficient for you. You do not have to eat whole of the plate, because after you, your next generation will come. What will they eat? So they will eat from the same plate, same pasta, same earth. Similarly, this is a metaphorical example of how sustainable energy, sustainability is important for the resources to lead to development. Okay, so let's see next part. Next part is the natural resource curse says how India avoided the curse. So is India in that part, in that those countries? No, India is in that group of countries that is capable of utilizing the raw material, converting it into more high value product and then selling it. Okay, so India invested in industrial development. India invested in the industries. India helped the industries to grow. Then we invested in the technology. Okay, technology is important. Then we focused on the skilling our workforce. Okay, skilled labor earn more money than unskilled labor, we all know. Okay, so let's see the last point, to help meet the growing needs and avoid over dependence. So it led India to become independent, to stand on its own feet. Okay, so resources can be blessing, it can also be a burden. Blessing and a burden, it depends on how wisely we are using it. Simple. Okay, let's move on to our next section. It is responsible and wise use of natural resources. Okay, the process, the whole idea behind stewardship. So we are students of class 8. We must know how can we protect the resources, why there is a need to protect the resources, how can we responsibly use the resources. Let's study it. So sustaining life, sustaining means I told you to extending our life, okay, providing our life enough time to sustain, to to helping us live our life in simple ways, to helping us to live our life, sustain us, okay. So how can you sustain the renewable resources? Simple, allow it for restoration and regeneration, allow the cycles to get completed, allow it, give it enough time to get itself renewed. How can you use responsibly the non-renewable resources? You must use them responsibly and in a judicious way. No one should be allowed to over exploit the resources, okay. Biodiversity loss. What is biodiversity loss? Means here is the definition. You must remember the definition: the decline of the variety of life on earth. You all know there are so many variety of animals, plants on earth. If there is a decrease in total amount of plants and animals on earth, it is an example of biodiversity loss. Extinction of animals, it is example of biodiversity loss, okay. So climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, all these things can be a problem for us if we are not following these two things for our renewable resources and non-renewable resources, okay. Now let's talk about the overuse of groundwater. So there are some problems related to overuse of groundwater. What are the problems? Let's see. Farmers use groundwater for irrigation. We all know that water from tube wells are used for watering the plants of our crop, okay. So in most states it's extracted faster than it's refilled. So what is it here? It is the groundwater. So groundwater is extracted, it is pulled out faster than we are giving it time to get renewed. What will happen next? So here we will study them. Cost of extraction is rising. Why? Because the groundwater level is going more deep, more below, okay, due to high amount of usage of groundwater without giving it enough time to get renewed. Then we have the cost of extraction is rising, and that is the reason why cost of extraction is rising, because we need more amount of technology, more digging, okay, more going deeper into the earth, and sometimes even there is no groundwater. In that case, the whole technology that through which we are using to extract the tube well, the groundwater gets disrupted. We have to shift to some other place, to some other area from where we will extract the groundwater. So this is the reason why the cost of extraction is rising. Some cities may even run out of groundwater soon. So this is a major problem that is arising in front of our cities of modern India. What is happening that if groundwater is used as in such a high amount of ratio, high amount of rate, it will eventually lead to the cities becoming totally the groundwater becoming totally absent in those cities. What is the solution? The solution lies here. Water in harvesting. We should use water for water harvesting. What is water harvesting? You all know that we use some pipe. We connect the pipe to the roof of the house. The roof collects the rainwater. Then the water flows through the pipe into the underground tank. This is the cycle of water harvesting. Then we must allow the ponds and tanks to rejuvenate. Rejuvenate means to allowing it to recharge. Then reduce the water waste. That is quite simple. Use and do not waste water. Reuse processed water. We can also use the 3R: recycle, reuse, reduce. So this is quite simple. You all know, you all have studied them. You also know how to write, how to conserve water. Now we have soil degradation from chemical use. What is the problem? Overuse of chemical fertilizer and pesticides. We are using chemical fertilizers more than the required quantity. What is happening? It harms the soil health and long-term productivity. Okay, if we are using more chemical fertilizer and pesticides, the the level the nature maintains, it gets disrupted, the balance get disrupted, chemicals increase. Okay, so this is the problem that we face today in our day-to-day life. It is the problem of soil degradation from chemical use. Okay, traditional wisdom. What is the traditional wisdom? What do our culture, our religion, our tradition teaches us? It teaches us that mother earth is our mother. We all know Bharat Mata. We also use Dharti Mata. Okay, we must use cow dung. Cow dung we all know. ठीक, it will act as a manure. We must use compost. We must use the mulching to retain moisture. What is mulching? Mulching means to cover the soil with things like dry leaves or straw to keep it healthy and moist. So if you have a plant in your house that in which you have to water it every day, or I would say every hour, very frequently, what you can do, you can use this technique of mulching. What is mulching technique? You will put dry grass, dry leaves, something like dry leaves or straw on the top part of the soil of your plant. ठीक, what will happen? It will prevent so much evaporation of water. Okay, so it will help in retaining moisture. Then we have multiple cropping. It supports it helps in supporting life. We all know multiple cropping. What is multiple cropping? Growing more than one type of crop on a single piece of land. ठीक है, if one type of if we are growing 2-3 types, okay, 3 types of crop, suppose due to some bad harvest this type of crop gets damaged, we have 2 different types of crop. Okay, we can earn money from them. Another advantage, suppose we have 3 types of crop, then the natural balance of soil will get renewed, it will be maintained, because we are using different types of crop. Suppose we are growing wheat, we are also growing leguminous plants. It will help in fixing nitrogen in the soil, nitrogen fixation bacteria, you all know. So let's see the last part, that is over exploitation. No, this is not the last part. This is the case where we are talking about Punjab's over exploitation of groundwater. Okay, we all know that people grow crop in Punjab. Punjab is a state which grows very high amount of wheat. Okay, so what happens is that we are talking about a time period of India when India got independence, in the time period of 1947. Okay, 1947 to 1960s. What happened at that time is that India had a great problem. What was the problem? India faced the food shortage. That was shortage of food. Shortage of food means there was not enough food to support so much high population of India. And due to frequent famines, you all know, the crop would eventually become, it will get damaged. Okay, crop get damaged, famines happen, people get sick due to famines. Okay, so it will lead to low crop yield. Population is high, crop is low, there is more demand, less availability of material, the prices will rise. Okay, so this is how we will come to a new concept of green revolution. So what was happening at that time, that India had to import food to feed its people. We did not have enough food to feed our own people. There was shortage of food, so we were importing from different countries wheat, rice, okay, these type of food. Then we come to the second part of green revolution. So we know what was the problem at that time period. Now we have the solution. This was the solution, green revolution. What happened in this time period? So what was the green revolution? It was the movement to increase food production in India. Okay, it was an attempt of the government to create a revolution by which we will become independent, we will grow our own food. Okay, we will not depend on any other country. Okay, It began in the time period of 1960s to 70s, and we started using new farming methods. You can see the word new farming methods. What are new farming methods? These are the new farming methods. They are not restricted to only 4, but there are many new farming methods. We are talking about only these 4 right now. So first is high yielding variety of seeds. At that time period, the Indian farmers used traditional seeds. What are traditional seeds? Those seeds that are found naturally, traditional way. Okay. Then the scientist invented the technology, the concept of genetic modification, where we modify the genes to produce more amount of vegetables, fruits, okay, of the plant, from the plant. Okay, so the genetically modified seeds that produce high yield. High yield means the total production that is coming from a specific area, a specific land. The total production, it will rise around 2 to 3 times if we will use the high yielding variety of seeds. Okay. Chemical fertilizers and pesticides, we all know, it was introduced at this time period to increase the production. The area is fixed. India had a fixed area of land. So what was required is that we must produce more amount of food from the same area of land, because India had land is limited. Land is not something that you can increase or decrease. It is limited. What we can increase or decrease is the amount of food that is being produced by the plant. So how can we do this? We can do this by following these 4 methods. Number 1 is using those modified plant seeds that will help in growing plants which will produce more amount of food. Okay, ज़्यादा food produce होगा. Okay, chemical fertilizer will provide enough nutrients to soil. Okay, then plants will grow more stronger, more healthier, more food, more fruit will be produced on the plant. Then we have the use of machines and irrigation. Machines will be used. Why machines? Machine helps in doing the work faster and more efficiently. Okay, then we have free electricity encouraged. Okay, so the government encouraged free electricity. Why? Because the government wanted the farmers to use tube wells. Why tube wells? Because at that time period the Indians were dependent more on rainfall, the rain, natural rain. And if there is no rain, what will happen? The whole crop gets damaged. They die, the plant will die without any rain. So what the government wanted is that the farmers should use these artificial methods of watering plants. It can be by using tube well. And how can tube well work? Using electricity. So you need to provide electricity at a very low cost to the farmers. Okay, so government started providing electricity at a free cost. So this was the whole concept of green revolution. Why was it conducted? For making India self-sufficient. We talked about all these. Okay, we talked about all this. But what was the result? First, let's see the result. Okay, so the results are given here itself. Okay, results are here. Here are the highlighted results. So the farmers started using high yielding variety seeds. There was more water usage. Groundwater was used to extract the water. Groundwater was a primary source from which farmers were using water. Okay, it really helped India to become self-independent. Okay, it was a positive effect, and India did become self-independent. But the problem is coming right now in today's time. Due to use of all these things, what the nature is showing us is that the groundwater is becoming less. It was over pumped. It was pumped beyond its capacity in Punjab. Okay, so this has led to a problem where the groundwater is depleting in Punjab. The levels of water is going more deep of groundwater. Okay, And the pesticides and fertilizer, chemical pesticides, it has disrupted the whole soil balance, the balance of the soil, due to which the soil has become damaged. Okay, so it is now impacting, it is now showing its long term effects of using these chemical fertilizers and over pumping of groundwater. So groundwater levels are so much low that you can see the sentence here. The combined effect of these factors is that the groundwater level is in the large part of Punjab has become inaccessible till the depth of 30 meters. So what has happened is that if this is the surface where you live, the groundwater has gone 30 meters deep into the earth. Okay, so you will require more depth to be dug for using groundwater. There are other problems. The cost will go very high of extracting the water, groundwater. Okay, so chemicals also, what did chemical do? The chemical fertilizers and pesticides got dissolved in the groundwater, and what was the result? What will happen if the chemicals that you are spraying on the plant, the pesticides to kill the insect, it get mixed with the groundwater? We drink the groundwater. What will happen? Our health, there will be health hazards. We will have a great crisis. Okay, a problem where we are becoming sick. Okay, so this is the problem. Let's see. You can see the graph. The graph shows how much water, the depth of water level in the whole state of Punjab. This is the whole state of Punjab, and you can see how deep is the water. First, see these. The dark blue shows that water is 0 to 2 meter. Okay, 0 to 2 means it is normal, natural level. So we can say that the whole the blue color shows that everything is controllable and normal. But the red shows that something is wrong. Something is wrong because it has gone very, very, very deep. Okay, now see the whole state. You can see there are more red parts in the state than blue parts. Red parts means the danger aligns here. Okay, danger is here in the state of Punjab because water level is going very, very below the natural level from which you can extract the groundwater. Okay, so it has led to over exploitation. Exploitation means over exploitation, using beyond the capacity. Over exploitation. Okay, remember the term. Let's see the lessons. What do the lessons we get? First of all, I told you that after the Green Revolution, we as Indians saw some positive changes. We became independent. There was high food production and the national food security was ensured. But what was the long-term effect? This is the short-term effect. Short-term effect is very good, but long-term effect, it is very bad. What is the bad? There is environmental damage, health risks, water scarcity. Okay, so all these things point to our main moral of the story. What is the moral of the story? If you will use more of fertilizers, chemical pesticides, over exploit the resources, they will lead to long-term problems. You will only get short-term benefits, but in the long term you will have to pay for it. Okay, so let's see another case. This is the case of cement. We all know cement. What is cement? Cement is used for making buildings. Okay, buildings, houses, schools, all these things are used, all these cements are used for making these things. Okay, cement is essential for modern infrastructure, no doubt. This is how the cement is extracted, you can see in the video. Okay, so these are the channels from which cement is the raw material is extracted, transported to the factory later processes it, converts it into the cement that we use. So let's move on. Case of cement. If you all have ever visited a cement plant, you all know that the area that is near the cement plant has a situation like this. In the video you can see there is so much dust particle in the air that it becomes very difficult for you to even breathe. Okay, and suppose what will happen is that all the dust that is in the environment, in the air, it will settle down. Where will it settle down? On the soil. And cement particles that is settling on the soil, it will create like a complete blanket, a complete concrete like plane, like a plastic sheet that is covering the soil and preventing water to go into the soil, plants to grow. It will disrupt the natural balance of chemicals in the topsoil. Okay, so the production of cement has been listed as one of the most polluting industries. It releases dust which is harmful for our lungs and for humans also, of animals also. Okay, dust settle on the plant. What will happen if the plant, there is a leaf of plant, and the dust will settle on the leaf? The plant can no longer breathe properly. Okay, this will lead to soil and water pollution. It will go to water, it will pollute the water. So that's why we have a body, an organization, a government organization. It is called Central Pollution Control Board. What does it do? It has made some rules. It makes rules to control, to reduce the pollution. Okay, so we are now talking about? We are talking about a judicious way of using resources. Judicious. Okay, controlling over exploitation. Now let's see some sustainable alternatives. Have you ever wondered that there are alternatives to cements too? You can build your home or houses using these materials. These are alternatives of cement. These are sustainable to eco-friendly. Okay, so let's see. First is the traditional material, stone and mud. Kacha house, you all know, stone and mud. Then we have the plant-based material. Plant-based material are also used for making houses and buildings. Like wood can be used for making buildings. In Japan, in countries like in the northern pole, they use wood for making houses. Okay. Then we can use recycled waste plastic, not plastic, waste plastic. That plastic that has been used already, we can reuse it. It is waste, plastic waste, but we can reuse it for making houses. So these material are what are the advantage? We will have less pollution, it will provide local jobs, and it will suit the local climate. So this is the major alternatives that we can follow to save our environment. So we have the picture here. If you wonder that can we create houses from mud, is it possible? So yes, you can create. You can see the image here, this fort. It is fort from Jaisalmer. Okay, it is created of mud. Okay, it is a mud structure which is built around the 12th century, and it was refurbished later using sandstone. So I hope you can understand that houses can also be built using alternative materials, not only using cements, but we can use stone, we can use mud, we can use recycled plastic, or something eco-friendly, wood. Okay, let's see another example. So this is the building. Which building? We are talking about the community building in Auroville, constructed by the Auroville Earth Institute, which holds the UNESCO chair for earthen architecture. This modern building is made up of mud using special technique. So I hope you understood what type of building is this. This is a building that is made up of mud. It is looking like the school, but it is a modern building that is created whole of mud using modern techniques. Okay, so it is how we are using our old culture heritage with modern new techniques. It is the amalgamation of both the things. Now we use traditional material like the stone, mud, new plants-based material. Okay, so we have talked about all this. So it is in a new book. You can highlight this. Those pictures, remember the pictures. Okay, always remember the picture, because this picture can come in your exam. It can be asked like, what is this image talking about? What is the image? Which building is this? Okay, because it has the UNESCO chair for earthen architecture, this image has a very high capacity, very high probability of coming in your exam. Okay, so let's see the next slide. The next slide is Vriksha Ayurveda. Vriksha Ayurveda, it is made from two words. The two words are Vriksha and Ayurveda. What is Vriksha? Vriksha means tree, we all know, and Ayurveda is the science of life and health. An ancient Indian science which was focused on study and care for plants and trees. It was formalized in the 10th century by Surapala. Okay, remember them. Remember the person that formalized it. This is the ancient person, our important person who will formalize this whole Vidya of Vriksha Ayurveda. Okay, so let's see it in more detail. What does it study? It studies these four things. What do we study in Vriksha Ayurveda? We study how or which plants are suitable for which type of soil. We all know that we cannot grow cactus in a very loamy and very wet soil. Cactus will only grow in a desert type of soil, arid soil. Okay, so Vriksha Ayurveda studies the same thing. Which type of plant and which type of soil does it require? Then it studies the seed collection, storage and planting methods. So how do we collect the seed? What is the proper method of preserving the seeds, planting the seeds, storing the seeds? So all these things are studied in Vriksha Ayurveda. Then we have the irrigation technique. What is the correct way of irrigating the plants? You will be surprised to know that there are different ways of irrigating the plants. Each plant requires different way of irrigation, okay, based on the season, based on the plant. So this is studied in the Vriksha Ayurveda. Then we have the natural pest control. We are not using pesticides. We are using natural pest control. It is used with the plants using companion plants. Okay, so natural pest control. You all know neem ka patta. It also acts as a natural pest control. There are other naturally available material that we use for protecting the crop, protecting the plants. Now we have Vriksha Ayurveda. There are four things: crop rotation. How to rotate crop rotation, there are cycles of growing different crops. So crop rotation, mixed cropping using multiple crops, using natural fertilizer. We are not using chemical fertilizer, we are focusing on natural fertilizer, and proper plowing. Okay, what is proper plowing? Using the plow, there is a device like this which plows the soil, creates like channels in the soil. This is how we studied the Vriksha Ayurveda. This is all that we studied in Vriksha Ayurveda. So this method, proper plowing method, helps in retaining the soil moisture. It also supports organisms like fungi, bacteria and earthworm. So Vriksha Ayurveda blends ancient wisdom with modern sustainability practices. So it can be said that Vriksha Ayurveda was a very modern as well as ancient technique where we are talking about plants, resources, natural resources, sustaining them, using them in an appropriate manner, giving them time to get renewed. Okay, so all these things that we are studying right now, our ancient forefathers have studied in the Vriksha Ayurveda. Now we have a caselet from Sikkim. We talked about Punjab. Okay, now we are talking about Sikkim. Let's see Sikkim. So we are talking about a family called Pema. Pema is a girl or boy, whoever, in Sikkim. What went wrong here is that there was low crop yield. The total production from the land decreased. Why? Because of the chemical fertilizer, modern methods of farming. Okay, so chemical fertilizer, pesticides. The crop eventually after 10 years, 20 years started decreasing. There was low crop yield. Heavy debt. Why? Because the chemical fertilizers are not free. They are not available in the environment. You have to buy it. It is costly. You have to buy it from the shops. So it is heavy. It is costly. So for buying it, you require more loan from different money lenders, banks. Okay, so there is huge heavy debt on Pema's family. Pema. Okay. Then we have soil. The soil of the Pema's land got damaged due to long-term chemical use. Pema used more amount of chemical use. Okay. Government action. What did the government do? what did the government do? The government of Sikkim announced a statewide organic farming policy. Organic farming, which type of policy? Organic farming policy. You all know organic food, organic material. These are those plants, those crops that are grown using natural methods, using natural manure. We are not using any chemicals in them. So the state of Sikkim, the government of Sikkim tried to promote this organic farming through the policy, and the Pemas family decided to go organic. They decided to abandon the chemicals permanently. What was the result? Pema was in huge debt. Now see, the crops are growing in a very good manner. Why? Because the soil is recovering. Soil is recovering by using natural methods. Recover means, you know, charging your phone. Phone is charging and again. So similarly, the land that lost the fertility due to chemical fertilizer, that lost the balance, natural balance, it is again getting restored. New practices are being adopted. What are the new practices of organic farming? We all know. Using compost. Compost is what? The manure. Using natural pest repellent, using neem and garlic. So they practice multiple cropping also. So these are the new practices that they adopted. They abandoned all the old chemical fertilizer and pesticides, and they are now using organic farming. What was the result? Let's see the result. First of all, remember that the problem that was created after using chemical fertilizer for so many years cannot be undone, or we cannot recover from this in 1 year or 1 day. It will require a sufficient amount of time. The nature will require some time to recover itself. Okay, so this time period was 5 years in Pema's case. So what started? First of all, Pema's family started growing crops in an organic manner. They sold crops like cardamom, ginger, veggies at premium prices. You all know that organic products are sold at a higher price than normal product. If you know, then it is a very good thing. Okay, biodiversity flourished. We are not using any chemical. Our biodiversity, insects, plants, animals, all these are flourishing in the land. There is a ecosystem that is being formed. Nature is reviving itself. Sikkim became the 100% organic in 2016. Sikkim state became 100% organic. Now in today times, Sikkim is not using chemical fertilizers at all. They are 100% organic from 2016. So that is a very good thing. Let's see what other things has helped. Tourism increased to see organic farms. So people came from different regions of India and even from international countries to see Sikkim, how Sikkim is using organic farms. Tourism is increasing. Tourism increases means people in the Sikkim are getting employment. They can participate in trade. They can provide services to the tourists that are coming in Sikkim. Then the farmers' income rose by 20%. Okay, the farmers' income rose. It is not decreasing by using organic farming. It is increasing. So that's the reason why government is promoting organic farming and promoting or asking the farmers to abandon chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Okay, so let's see the next slide. So this is the same slide, same part in your book. You can find it. It says that today Sikkim farmers' income grew by 20%. Today Sikkim serves as a global model, demonstrating that an entire region can successfully transition to sustainable agricultural practices. Okay, so this is while improving ecological and economic outcome. If you are using organic farming, you are improving the ecology as well as economic. Okay, economic means finance, पैसा, हमारी आमदनी बढ़ेगी. Okay, we will earn more money. And ecology means we are giving nature the enough time for it to get renewed. Okay, ecology is improving. So there is two benefits associated with using organic method. Now we have the responsible and judicious use of resources. Let's see. Very beautiful picture. It can only be achieved only we use resources in a judicious way. Okay. So these are the four boxes, four types I've created, so you can understand. Number one, topic is use non-renewable resources wisely. First of all, use the resources wisely. See, use them slowly so that they are renewing. Use them slowly. Then let them last until we find better alternative. Okay, let them last till we are finding alternatives that are eco-friendly. Okay, then switch to renewable energy like solar and wind. Simple. How can we ensure fair access for all people access the resources? By allowing everyone everyone deserves clean water and fresh air. That is simple. Poor communities suffer more from pollution, and we must plan cities and industries fairly. So ensuring fair access require us planning and suitable allocation of resources, allowing poor communities to access resources also. Okay, they live in poor pollution areas, so we must reduce the pollution also. So all these things are part of how we can tackle this problem. Then we have the third topic, that is reduce water pollution, water waste and reduce waste and pollution. Reduce waste and pollution. So avoid wasting. Very simple. We are taught this in our nursery classes. We must not waste. Avoid wasting water, electricity, switch off the lights, fans. Okay, limit harmful chemicals in farming and factories. So you must decrease the amount of chemicals. Go organic. Use eco-friendly materials where possible. Learn from traditional knowledge. Follow natural farming methods like organic farming. We saw using natural pest control methods, using manure, natural manure. Practice water harvesting and soil care. Okay, so this will help in reducing and preserving, or giving the groundwater the time period to recycle itself, to regenerate itself, to renew itself. Okay, use compost, mulching, natural repellent. So all these things are those things that are part of our methods to conserve resources in a judicious manner. Let's see the next topic. It is responsible judicious use of resources. We must respect the nature. Simple, we all know we must respect the nature. Then we must act as a stewards. You all are the stewards of whom? Of the caretakers of the earth. Okay, you are the class 8 students. You are the new generation. You are going to become the next administrator of this country, the new generation of this country. So you must act as a stewards. Okay, you must focus on restoration, repairing damages, regeneration and sustainability. Simple. Restoration means, what is restoration? Repairing the damaged. Whatever damage the humans are created, they must promote restoration to again allow the nature to regenerate itself, to renew itself. Regeneration means letting nature heal. So nature has a cycle of restoration. So letting the nature to regenerate itself is this point, regeneration. And sustainability, what is sustainability? Sustainability, I told you, protecting for future generation can use the resources. Okay, we have this important wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. What is it? It is Lok Sangrah. What is Lok Sangrah? Act not just for yourself but for the well-being of all humanity. Okay, so we are working for the welfare of all of the humans. So this is the important and responsible judicious manner in which we are using resources, or we must use resources. Now we have come to one of the last topics, International Solar Alliance. So let's see the video. You all know the sun. The sun is the ultimate source of our energy on earth. So the International Solar Alliance, what was it? It was a group. Alliance means a group of countries. Okay, it was launched in 2015 by India and France. India and France came together. They created an alliance called the International Solar Alliance. It was a group of sunshine rich countries. Which countries? That countries that receive enough sunlight, sunshine. Okay, sunshine rich countries. So they have which type of resource? They have the solar resource, solar energy. Solar energy is also a resource. Take solar plants. Then we have goal. What is the goal of the organization, this alliance? To promote the use of solar and energy around the world. So they try to promote the solar energy. When we are talking about solar energy, we are talking about solar panels, using solar panels to convert the sunlight into electricity. This is what? This is the renewable type of resource. Remember, renewable resource. Okay. Now we have International Solar Alliance. What was the India's role in the alliance? So India helped in funding the solar projects in developing countries. India provided money to the developing countries so that they can increase the amount of solar projects. Then India shared the technical knowledge, the knowledge of converting the sun's energy into electricity, offered affordable loans and financing. India offered loans also, showed leadership in clean energy transition. So you all know that solar energy is a clean energy. It does not produce any pollution. Okay, so it is a clean energy. So India showed a leadership role. Who founded this organization? It was India along with France. So India is creating the leadership role. So you can see the picture here. Here we have the logo of ISA. ISA, International Solar Alliance. This is a logo, remember it. Okay, so this is the meeting that is being created. This is the day when foundation day when International Solar Alliance was being launched. And you would be surprised to know that its headquarters is in India. It is in India. It is in Gurugram. Okay, now let's see the benefits. What was the benefits that India got from this? First of all, it helps to fight the climate change. The problem of climate change, greenhouse gas, global warming, all this problem can be solved by using solar energy. Sun is the ultimate source of our energy. Sets an example to the world. Okay, so it sets an example that the world can follow. India is setting an example. It saves money on energy. We are not paying our bills of electricity. We are directly installing solar panels on the top of our houses, and we are not paying any money on energy. Okay, it is free of cost. Does anyone on the earth have to pay for sunlight? No, sunlight is free for everyone. So we are saving more money on paying our bills on energy. Lastly, we have it creates green job. Green job means those jobs that are helping the environment, eco-friendly jobs. Okay, because solar panel is clean source of energy, it is creating green jobs. Now we come to the one of the last slide, second last slide. It is the Badla Solar Park. Why are we studying about this Badla Solar Park? It is a solar park that is one of the largest solar parks in the whole world, on the whole earth. So this is a satellite image of the park. You can see the satellite image captured shows so many solar panels that are in the Badla Solar Park. Okay, and you would be surprised to know that around 15%, you can see the word 15% of the Rajasthan's electricity is covered by the Badla solar plant. Means Rajasthan is stepping further in the cleaner energy sources, going more eco-friendly. Okay, we must appreciate that. It shows that how India, when we are talking about Rajasthan is a state of India. So it shows how India is shifting from fossil fuels to a renewable sources of energy. Okay, I hope you have understood this. Now, last slide, that is the first quotation that came in our book. You all can find this in the first page of the chapter. After studying the whole chapter, I hope you will be able to understand this quote in a more intricate manner, in a better way. Okay. Concerned social scientists are clear on what we need to do. We must move towards a regenerative economy, an economy that operates in harmony with the nature. So scientists are clear, social scientists are clear what they need to do. And what we need to do is that we must go to a more regenerative type of economy, an economy that is eco-friendly, okay, that is in harmony with the nature. Nature and economy, they are both working together. Nature is helping us, we are helping the nature. Okay, repurposing used resources, minimizing waste, replenishing depleted resources, all these things are those that we must do. Okay, we must return to an innate wisdom of nature herself. Okay, we must return to an innate nature of our nature itself, because the ultimate regenerator and recycler of all resources, who? It is the nature. So I hope you have understood the whole quotation. It is asking us to become more eco-friendly, using eco-friendly renewable resources and converting our economy into something that is more helpful for nature, that works with nature and we work with nature. Nature works with us, we work with nature, we create a cycle, a positive cycle, ecological balance. Okay, so who said this? It was said, or where was it found? It was found in the Christiana Figures and the Tom Rivet Karnak in The Future We Choose. Okay, The Future We Choose. So this is an important quote, you must remember it. Who said, where was it said, where was it written? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. We will study the NCERT solution and in-text question of this chapter in another video. You can find the NCERT solution, notes, slides, or this PPT in the TspApp. So you can download the TspApp from Google Play Store, or you can visit the www.tspApp.com. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.